It's the first show of what I'm calling Yes-Vember because we have too much negativity in our lives, right? So happy Yes-Vember. It is Yes-Vember first. And no, I will not continue this past this joke. Oh, that it was it. That's all you'll hear about this. Don't expect me to call this Yes-Vember on Monday. That's not going to happen. Holy moly, spicoli. We've got a show for you here. The Epstein Trump connection back with a vengeance. New allegations from a shaky source, if you will. But, well, we'll present the allegations and you guys can decide for yourselves. Obviously, more on Diddy. I don't think we've gone an episode without mentioning Diddy because new things continue to roll out, including some tapes which show him with 8, count them, 8 A-listers. We are going to be doing a show on election night. We're calling it Electile Dysfunction. Maybe the most brilliant name we've ever come up with. Electile Dysfunction. Election night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be here with you, taking you through the evening for as long as we possibly can. We'll go over the results and see what's going on, and we'll just talk and hang with one another and be together, which will be nice. Plus, I'll give you the latest update on the election and what's going on in that whole world on this episode. Bonnie Blue, you don't know who that is, probably, but there are some wonderful allegations against her. And hold the phones. Aaron C. joins us a little later on for our Friday night tradition. We got a little game time for you here. Blind Top 5 on the way. I see all the beautiful people in the live chat. That means we got to go. Need the coffee, man. Friday. This week is killing me. Yes-Vember. I give that a 7 out of 10. It wasn't too bad. Could have done better. Should have gave it to Robin, see what he could have done with it. I love this from Paul. And I'll save you some time. She won. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking their side's winning. And it's tight, man. It's close. It's close. I made a prediction that she is going to win, and there's still a feeling in my bones that it might not be as close as we think, but the truth remains that here's the thing. We rely on polling, right? No matter what. I mean, every poll says it is close, and maybe the closest election ever, which is pretty darn amazing because I feel like the last two or three have been insane. The last two have been insanely close, like ridiculously close. So we'll see. I've got some numbers and things to share with you. We've got some stories, obviously. I am a little upset with the portrayal of. Well, we'll get into it. We got to go in order, baby. We got to go in the order. Let's start with the Epstein Trump connection. Obviously, that is the biggest story of the hour. So here's the deal. And I'm going to lay this all out for you here because there's, we have to be honest, right? I have to be honest. That's the whole point. There's no point to this. If we're not honest, or if I'm just trying to push you one way or the other, then I'm CNN and Fox News. And then there's no reason to be me. I hate those places. I hate the current state of media and what it does. So, I'm not going to do it that way. There's a lot that we're going to talk about. I'm going to preface it by saying this is all coming from Michael Wolff. And Michael Wolff has written several books about Donald Trump in the White House. Michael Wolff has been right a bunch of times. Michael Wolff has been not right a few times. There's been some shakiness there with some of the things that Michael Wolff has reported on. And I mean, I feel like now you ask the Trump people and Michael Wolff is a disgrace and he's awful and he never tells the truth. Okay, that's not true. The people who obviously want to see Trump go down are thinking Michael Wolff is their savior. Here's the October surprise that we got basically in Yes-Vember. You let me know in the live chat when I should switch back to November. You guys tell me. There's also Brovember. We could also make this all about the bros. And that's not a derogatory man thing. Like, everybody could bro out a little bit. Anyway, what I'm saying is he's gotten there's been some things that have been disputed, and Michael Wolff is an author, right? So there is a difference between an author and a reporter. And I know a lot of authors who are reporters, right? Those things can go hand in hand. But when you write a story, you report on something. When you write a book, it's a bit of a longer narrative that you're trying to explain. So there have been some things that Michael Wolff has gotten wrong, and there have been a lot of things that Michael Wolff has gotten right. Michael Wolff is back now to say that there's two parts of this. One, which he has furnished to us, and I will share with you in a moment. There's audio of Jeffrey Epstein discussing the Trump White House, which is an amazing piece of audio to listen to, and we will listen to it. So I'm going to play that for you guys in a second. The second part of this is that Michael Wolff is alleging that Jeffrey Epstein showed him photos of Donald Trump with topless women sitting on his lap. That's the story. Wolff alleged Epstein showed off photos of Donald Trump with topless women sitting in his lap. Okay. Now, that's too big of an allegation not to discuss and talk about on this show. And we obviously know there is a history there. We know these two knew each other. We have video footage of these two together. There's multiple photographs at multiple different events where these two were spotted together. They were obviously friends. Donald Trump passes it off like, well, when I found out about this guy, I gave him the boot, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. We know he stopped going to Mar-a-Lago at some point, so that story is probably true. However, there was a long history before that moment really happened. When you start to line up some of these things, and I know people don't love this because people worship Donald Trump, but the truth of the matter is he did run a beauty pageant, and he did go on the Howard Stern show and say that he liked to just walk into the back while the girls were getting dressed. Was he saying that just to show off, or was that actually true? We do have video and audio footage of him talking about how he grabs women by the pussy. You know, I mean, that's there. Was this just locker room talk, or was he trying to oppress Billy Bush, which is nobody should ever try and do that? Or was he just or is that his true self being caught? You know, there's a lot that goes against Donald Trump here. There just is. And I have defended him because, you know, people, not my proudest moments, but I've defended him because people are like, oh, he was on the island. He was this. But we don't have any footage of that. We don't have any evidence of that. We don't know if he was on the island or not. You know, we know they were friends. We know they knew each other. We know that there was, you know, I mean, finance and real estate is obviously a mix of the two. They're together all the time. They were both people, characters, staples, if you will, in the New York socialite scene, right? These are all true. I can't say he was on the plane and he went to the friggin', island, because I don't know that. So that part I have to be like, when people bring that up to me, I have to say that's not necessarily true. It might be true. We don't have any evidence of that. We do have evidence of the two of them dancing along to each other, doing the white man overbite, as Billy Crystal so geniusly put it once, and pointing and looking at girls in the crowd. We got video footage of that. We have enough here to give you the ick, as the girls say, right? Girls like to say that, oh, he gave me the ick. Understandably, if you're getting the ick from Donald Trump here. Obviously, all the E. Jean Carroll, and there's plenty of stuff in Donald Trump's, past. My issue with this is Michael Wolff doesn't have the photos. Not that he has to have him, but basically what he is saying is that Epstein had about a half a dozen pictures which show Trump by a pool with multiple young women. This is what Michael Wolff claimed on his podcast, which is called Fire and Fury. He dropped an episode yesterday. I'll play you a clip in a minute. They were taken in the late 90s at Epstein's Palm Beach home, where obviously a lot of bad things took place, right? Wolff alleged that they were in Epstein's safe when the FBI seized a lot of his items and raided his homes back in July of 2019. Okay. The feds took all this stuff. The feds have never made any of that stuff public. Okay. Prosecutors have disclosed that after the raid, they had hundreds of photos of young girls and young women, but we don't have any of the details. Wolff said of the photos, and I'm quoting here, they were with Trump at Epstein's Palm Beach house, sitting around the pool with these young girls, and the young girls are topless. Now, the reason why we have to talk about this is we have a bigger problem here now, which is the beauty of journalists, right? This journalist is making a claim. He is alleging that Epstein has these photos. If Epstein still had these photos and they were confiscated during the raid, then we have a huge problem here where the FBI is protecting Donald Trump. Because if those photos really do indeed exist, that's a huge problem. It means they had him in 19 when he was the president of the United States of America. When you get all this stuff from the biggest sex trafficker that we have known to exist on the planet, and the current sitting president has incriminating evidence, that's a big problem. If the FBI kept these photographs quiet, that's a huge problem. Now, listen, I could even understand them keeping it quiet while he's sitting in that chair in the Oval Office. But the second he gets out, I mean, come on, you have to do something. That should have been released. If there's a folder in the FBI buildings somewhere right now with these photographs that actually do exist, and they are not putting that forward, some people would describe that as election interference, right? Donald Trump describes all kinds of things as election interference. I mean, Donald Trump describes bad weather as election interference at this point. I mean, he's just basically, and that's not to say the left goes unscathed. Hang on, because when we do the election update, I'm gonna throw something their way too. But I mean, that would be massive. This is a big accusation. And at some point, and I don't know when, and I don't know if they can get it before Election Day. I highly doubt it. But somebody needs to sue under the Freedom of Information Act or do something or make a movement or a motion somewhere to go through that pile of evidence and find out whether or not this photo exists. That needs to be found out. On top of which, we need to find out what's in that. I mean, there was that whole pile of evidence. We talked about this stuff ad nauseum. I say it all the time. If they have this information, why are they not releasing it? I mean, it's been a while now. It's time to release a lot of the Epstein information. There's no reason to be holding on to a lot of this stuff. The Florida judges have been putting the stuff out there little at a time. It's been a long time since we've had anything. I feel like as a country, the story has been P. Diddy, and we've been obsessed with that. And yeah, there's plenty to go there. I mean, obviously, we need to go through all the Diddy stuff as well. But I mean, this information should be out there. And this is a pretty big allegation. Saying that a former president and a president who is running, there's photographs of him with women, possibly underage women, by a pool going back to the 90s. That's massive. That's massive. And if the FBI has been holding on to it, I mean, I have an even bigger problem with that. You know, everybody brings up the Hunter Biden laptop, and we've talked about this too, but let me clarify my position on that too. I don't think the Hunter Biden laptop, changes the outcome of the election. I had a big problem with what J.D. Vance said to the New York Times when it came to all of that. But the fact that the difference in that particular instance was you had, 41 or 42 or 52, whatever it was, former intelligence officials coming out and saying this is Russian disinformation. Okay. So I don't know how we are so angry and mad at all the social media networks for not running this when there were so-called experts that were saying that this was Russian disinformation. Now, if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at those people. It's those people who should be prosecuted. It's those people who should be held. I mean, if I have something and I go to an expert and they go, no, this isn't true, and then there's 41 other people that are backing that up, it's hard to run that story. It's hard to run that story. I mean, anybody who saw this stuff would be able to tell you that this was real. But even still, with all of that put together, it was the son of the president or the trying to be president of the United States. It was the son. All that confirms to me was that the son's a piece of shit. Again, I've said this before. If Hunter Biden is a problem, if Hunter Biden is a weakness for foreign governments to get to the president of the United States, that's a problem. That is a problem that needs to be addressed and discussed and figured out. His artwork is a bigger problem to me because it's like, if anybody's going to try and buy off a favor, suddenly we're buying a Hunter Biden piece of art for $500,000. Like, give me a break. I have a lot of issues with that. But going into who they were going to vote for, Hunter Biden being a liability, Hunter Biden being a drug addict who loved to be with prostitutes and all this stuff doesn't outweigh how poorly Donald Trump performed in his last year of office, how he handled the pandemic, and how he wrapped up his presidency. It doesn't outweigh it. For me, it doesn't. You could disagree with me, but Donald Trump's presidency, capped off by the pandemic and how he handled it, he was never going to overcome that. So that's the difference. This is a much different situation where if this is really part of this guy's past, and there's been plenty of smoke here, there's been plenty of smoke surrounding this fire. This is regarding Donald Trump, and we need to know this. Do I think we're going to find out before Election Day? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the other part of this is, let's be honest, this goes along with Michael Wolff's shakiness. He waited till Halloween to drop this. This is his October surprise. He had this for a long time. Why not bring it to everybody sooner? This interview that I'm going to play for you with Jeffrey, if you can call it that, it's a tape of him at a restaurant with Epstein, is from 2017. It's 7 years old. This information is 7 years old. Why wait until October 31st of 2024 to release it? You can't answer that question, because, and I hate to say this, but you do things like this when you don't have a follow-up, when you just need the headlines to put doubt in people's minds. And then, it turns out we couldn't get the pictures, or we couldn't do this, or we couldn't do that. That's why you release things at the last minute. He could have put this out at any time over the 7 years, or here's an idea, a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, to give to put the pressure on the FBI to put these photos out if they have them. And that would be pretty damning to Donald Trump's campaign. But when you wait till the last minute, I mean, it's like throwing a Hail Mary up at the last minute. You're not leaving the other team time to score. I'm always a little suspect when people do things like this. And Michael Wolff is no different from me. Now, listen, here's another possibility. Did he see these photos? Did Jeffrey Epstein really have these photos? Could he have had these photos and he threw them out at some point, or he destroyed them, or he got rid of them? Could the FBI really not have them? It's possible. I mean, anything is possible in this situation, right? I tend to think not, though. I tend to think that Epstein held on to a lot of these things. And if he was talking about them and discussing them in 2017, when Trump was already president, he was probably trying to get something out of them. I mean, that was his MO. That's what he did. Let's also not forget the way that Trump handled the Ghislaine Maxwell question. Do you have a message for Ghislaine Maxwell? I wish her well. I don't. I wish her well. Like, she should rot in prison was the answer. She should burn in hell was the answer. Not, I wish her well. That's not the answer. That is not the answer. Susan F. stuff. You're saying, oh my God, you're saying Donald Trump is sexist? What? And possibly abusive? No. Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy. These are crazy discussions we're having. This is insanity right now. Again, I would feel so much better about this if this was not 5 days before the election, 4 days before the election. I'd feel a lot more confident telling you about it. But it is a massive story. I said this on Twitter before. Paul tweeted this to me earlier today. We combed through everything. We tried to get more information. There's not really much else out there. It's a big story if true. We just don't know if it's true. We're not going to have time to find out if it's true or not. Let's go over to the portion of this story that we have some audio for. So again, this is Michael Wolff's new podcast that he launched. What is it called? Fire and Fury. Fire and Fury. And he basically put out this clip. Now, he says he has hundreds of hours of Jeffrey Epstein talking about this stuff. That there's hundreds of hours there. We haven't heard the hundreds of hours, but he did play a little clip on his show, and it involved Epstein at like a diner or something, and they were talking about, the fact that he's in the White House, and actually, you know what? Let me play it. Let me do it this way, because it's part of the Daily Beast, and it's a whole thing. But basically, Epstein's discussing the inner workings of the Trump White House and how combative it was and awful it was. So I'll spin you the audio here. Sorry, I'm having because this is the Daily Beast site and I'm having a little issue with it right now. I would have loved to have played it for you the normal way. Let's see if we can do it this way. I don't know if it's going to work. No, it's not going to work this way. Sorry, we had this all queued up and now it's, I had to reload the page and now we're having an issue. Okay. All right, here, let me play it for you this way. So we'll play it through my mic. No big deal. And that's, again, so, all right, this is why I brought up the Daily Beast thing. That's the other part of this, right? He's being paid by the Daily Beast to do this podcast. And obviously it's like they have to come up with something, pretty huge, to provide to everybody. You'd feel a little bit better about all this stuff if it wasn't attached to, a money-making process. Let's let this ad play out. Don't forget, this is a good time to bring this up. Election night coverage, as I said in the beginning. We're going to be going live on election night. Electile dysfunction is what we're calling it. Pretty brilliant.
That I recorded with Epstein.
It's Michael Wolff.
This was in a restaurant in 2017.
His people fight each other.
Right.
And then have outsiders. He sort of poisons the well outside. He will tell 10 people Bannon's a scumbag and Priest is not doing a good job and Kelly has a big mouth. What do you think? Jamie Dimon says you're a problem and I shouldn't keep you. And I spoke to Carl Icahn, and Carl thinks I need a new spokesperson. So Kelly, even though I hired Kellyanne's husband, Kellyanne's just too much of a wild one. And then he tells Bannon, I really want to keep you, but Kellyanne hates you.
I have more than dozens. I probably have 100 hours of Epstein talking about the inner workings of the Trump White House and about his long-standing, deep relationship with Donald Trump.
All right, so that's the clip from Fire and Fury, the new Michael Wolff podcast on the Daily Beast. He says he has hundreds of hours of Epstein talking about Donald Trump. I would love to hear that because, listen, what Epstein is saying here is basically been backed up by people who are actually in the Trump White House, right? They all said it was chaotic. It was crazy. Trump loves infighting. We've known that about him. That's kind of been part of his persona for years. He likes to push people around and push them to their limits. All true. What's unclear from all of this is how Epstein knows this information. Does he know because he was talking to Donald Trump? Does he know because he was talking to Kellyanne Conway or Reince Priebus or, Bannon or any of the other people that he name dropped in there? Jamie Dimon, was Trump talking to Jamie Dimon and then Jamie Dimon running his mouth over to Epstein? I don't know. And it all feels pretty dirty if they were all talking to Epstein still at that point, because that was 8 years into us already knowing he was a pedophile, right? I mean, maybe not us, the broad public us, but certainly the people in the New York circles that he ran with, he was already convicted by that point, so they knew, but it's unclear whether or not that was coming directly from an inside source or not, or if he was getting that information third hand. If Epstein had the photos, I would imagine he was trying to leverage that for, power against Trump. But we've never heard any other accusation, evidence, even hinting at that was the case, that Epstein was trying to work Trump while he was still in the White House. The only thing that we have ever heard was that they cut ties when Trump cut him out of Mar-a-Lago, when Trump, banned him from Mar-a-Lago. That was basically the end of that relationship. Also, I mean, that's what you just heard was audio from Jeffrey Epstein. Not the most character guy, right? So, and also had this ability, and part of his persona was to make it sound like he was bigger than he was, to drop people's names and throw names around and try and impress people, and right, so he could be completely full of shit. I mean, the stuff he's saying has turned out to be true, but what I'm saying is he could have heard it, or he could have even read it somewhere. I mean, do you remember the first year of the Trump White House? It was insanity, and the reporting that was done was just as crazy and as insane. So he could have just been regurgitating shit that he read somewhere, acting like he's still in contact with Donald Trump. We just don't know. We just don't know. Again, I wouldn't even be, I probably would pontificate about this too anyway, but it's not as impactful or elevated if he doesn't wait till October 31st to drop this information. Again, it's a big headline impact, and you have no way to respond, investigate, clear it up, confirm it, deny it, or whatever. Now, obviously, Trump and the Trump campaign vehemently deny all of this stuff. What else are they going to say? They've called Wolff's claims not true. They've called Wolff disgraced himself. A campaign spokesperson gave a statement to the Daily Beast saying, quote, Michael Wolff is a disgraced writer who routinely fabricates lies in order to sell fiction books because he clearly has no morals or ethics. He waited until days before the election to make outlandish false smears, all in an effort to engage in blatant election interference on behalf. I didn't realize that election interference was part of their quote. Election interference on behalf of Kamala Harris. He's a failed journalist, and that is resorting to lying for attention, end quote. Sources in the Trump campaign claimed he had severed his relationship with Epstein when he learned of the allegations that he was trafficking, and pointed to his quote, I was not a fan of Jeffrey Epstein, and you watched people yesterday saying that I threw him out of a club. I didn't want anything to do with him. That was many years ago. That's what Trump said a while back. So that's everything. You make of that what you will. I still believe there should be a fierce call on the FBI to release these photos. Listen, I'm not looking for photographs of the victims, right? I don't need all of that stuff. You could blur out every female in these photographs, who appear to be victims. We know who the victims are, right? They were part of the victim fund for Epstein. So we could easily retract these, not retract, block out their faces and whatever from being shown. But if there were other people there, if there were, if Donald Trump was there, we have a right to know that. We really have a right to know that. All that being said, it wouldn't make a difference to the Trump's followers, right? I mean, isn't that the crazy thing? Like, all the Trump followers, like, if you are supporting Donald Trump and this turns out to be true, if there is photographs of him in the 90s with young and underage looking and young looking women that are topless, which is not for a millionaire New York. I mean, this is literally in between marriages at the time that they're alleging. Would that change your vote? I'm not quite sure. I've had some people say that they can't vote for Donald Trump who are Republicans, but I'm talking about the MAGA loving Republicans. I've seen a couple of Trump 2024s in our live chat here. If you're still around, I would love to know if that changes your mind, if this story is true. Like, let's play a game. Let's play a game where we found out it is true, and here are the photos. Does it change your vote? I would imagine most of them would say no. It doesn't. So I don't know what to think of it. Listen, to me, it's something that I'm going to keep my eye on. Again, I feel like the onus here is on the FBI if they have these photographs. I think if Michael Wolff wants us to believe this is true, he should explain why he waited till this moment to put it out. And if he has any further evidence, or anything else that would point to anything, we should know about it. We should know. So that's my feeling on that. Paul, I'd vote for Hunter. What about AI creating a false photo? No. Oh, you're saying if like the AI. Thank you, Donna. Possible, but it would have to come from the FBI. And Michael Wolff is saying he doesn't have these photos. Like let's make that clear. He's saying he doesn't have these photos. But he's saying that Epstein said that these photos existed, that he had these photos. So, again, if that was 17 and 2 years later he's dead, and or 2 years later the house is raided and he's arrested and all this stuff is, I would assume, again, if you're Epstein, you have to assume those photos are still in his possession at the time. The thing is, why that we have no reporting, no other evidence, no nothing that Epstein was trying to contact Trump in any sort of way, channel, through any people. There has never been an alleged contact between those two before this very moment. Believe me, we've looked. Other people have tried to put these two together for the longest time. We just had that little flare up not that long ago with people saying there's new this and there's new that, and the Trump stuff, it all got kicked up again. And it was much to do about nothing. It was all stuff that we already knew. It was all old regurgitated stuff. And we had to sit here and shoot it down. I don't particularly enjoy that, because if you're asking me instinct wise, is this stuff true? Let me phrase that a different way. If you're asking me instinct wise, did Donald Trump do some not so great things in association with Jeffrey Epstein? My answer would be yes. He was just that kind of a guy. He was just that kind of a guy. Was he on the island? So that Trump going on somebody else's turf, that doesn't add up to me. But down the block from his Mar-a-Lago club in the 90s, come on over, we're having a party. He's divorced. He's in between. Why? It's pre-Melania, post, I forget who the second one was. I could see that. I mean, I can see that. I mean, if I was a reporter, I would follow that lead till I was dead because there's got to be something there. There just has to be. But again, I feel like we would have heard this Epstein guy is trying to, or he reached out to so-and-so who tried to talk to this one in the White House. And, he would have had to have figured out a way to try and blackmail Trump. No? I mean, think about what a sketchy piece of shit Epstein was. He didn't try and influence Trump. Let's put it this way. And again, now we're getting into conspiracy theories. This is just Epstein skated by for many years, right? He was arrested first in 2009. He doesn't get arrested again until 19, or was it 18, whatever it was. Let's say he did have photos of Trump. Now all of a sudden it takes that. It's during the Trump administration when he's arrested. It's during the Trump administration when he's mysteriously found dead in his cell. Trump house raided. Let's say there was Trump photos in there. Now they're gone. FBI can say, well, yeah. I mean, the president of the United States, trying to cover his own ass by, cleaning up a liability there. It's possible, isn't it? I could write that movie. I don't know if it's true or if it's what's happened, but I could definitely write that movie. All that mystery behind Epstein's death. No follow-up. No big investigation. No. And believe me, there's still reporters working on this stuff, but the TV stopped working. The guard fell asleep. Nothing to see here. Move along. I mean, people are alleging the same kind of shit with Biden and Diddy. Like Diddy's going down now to distract from this and that and the other thing. Well, I can connect the dots to if Trump had incriminating if Epstein had incriminating photos of Trump letting his Justice Department do their thing, arrest Epstein, let him be mysteriously found dead one morning. Just saying. No evidence of this, just pontificating, just thinking out loud. No proof, not liable. Probably didn't happen. I'm probably crazy. Speaking of crazy, Diddy. New claims coming out now that there are sex tapes of P. Diddy and sex tapes that include him with 8 A-listers. And of those 8, 2 of them child stars. Courtney Burgess, a man claiming to have been in possession of Diddy's alleged sex tapes, testified before a grand jury yesterday. He also went on, I forget what show. He went on some show. Some news show. Was it News Nation or something? There's another network now, News Nation, that we got to fucking pay attention to all of a sudden. Like we needed another fucking cable news network. Speaking of which, remind me to talk about that during the election thing. Remind me to talk about cable news networks during the election thing. Let's see here. What is this? News Nation. Yeah, he was on News Nation. You want me to play this one for you? This one I could play for you. Let's bring this up on the old big screen here. All right, this is Courtney Burgess, and he was on News Nation with a News Nation person who I'm not exactly sure. I can't keep track of all the names. I think this is where Chris Cuomo is nowadays.
You mentioned 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 of them men and 2 of them women. Can you tell me where that's inaccurate?
You're right.
Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appear to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them.
out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
All
Were victims
they
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
How did you end up in possession of these flash drives?
I ended up with the flash drive with a friend from a record label that I was at the time I was recording in Atlanta, and I ran into a person that knew Kim Porter. So at the same time, she wanted to speak to me on the phone because she heard my voice. He said, "Who that? That's Courtney B." And then later on that night, he came over and gave me the flash drive.
All right, so there you go. News Nation with the scoop. Congratulations to the News Nation folks for pulling that one in. So this guy, he says he has this stuff on a hard drive. Now his lawyer says that she's seen it. So it's not just one person that you think, this guy's crazy. He's fucking out of his mind. He's what his lawyer, who is, I believe that was the person sitting next to him. She says she's seen these things. Burgess was was contacted by agents from the Department of Homeland Security and subpoenaed. The summons requested that Burgess turn over all records, including thumb drives, hard drives, electronic storage devices, or devices containing videos and or other files depicting Diddy. So that was part of the subpoena. Whether he did it or not, we've yet to find that out. I believe so. I mean, he was subpoenaed. He went there yesterday. How he came into possession of it seems a little suspect, but sometimes these things go down that way, you know? Sometimes they go down that way. So if that is true, we're talking about 8 A-listers, 2 of which were child stars. If that's true, if all of this stuff is true, if the Department of Homeland Security proves that or says they have it, like I said, these things, there's gonna be a lot of dominoes falling here, a lot of dominoes falling, and probably sooner than one would think. I mean, we know the one tape that's going around that nobody wants to admit to or report. They're confirming they've seen it and they have it, but again, you're getting into dicey areas here with victims. You know, yeah, he says. TD Freelancer. Whoa, did he just say Kim Porter? He says he also has Kim Porter's memoir too, which they put out that book, that 75-page book, and a lot of people are saying that book was bullshit. There's a lot of bad things in that book. You know, I mean, you think about these Epstein theories being crazy. These Diddy theories are crazy. I mean, they're fucking crazy. There is one now, and again, here's what's strange, right? You talk about all the poisoning and the baby oil and all the drugs and stuff that Diddy used that we now know of. If you go and look at it, Kim Porter died of pneumonia, right? Who's the actress there? She was so beautiful, Brittany Murphy. Brittany Murphy, who was dating Ashton Kutcher at the time, or not at the time that she died, but who was dating Ashton Kutcher, was running in that circle. Brittany Murphy dies mysteriously of pneumonia, and then her husband 6 months later mysteriously dies of pneumonia. It's like, you know, geez, here Neil has it, right? He's got it too. You know, I mean, it is fucking crazy the possibilities of where this could actually wind up if all these things are proven. Could you imagine if he was just fucking killing people? Multiple people, you know, and these things are being covered up, or these poisons or whatever were being like, you know, oh, this is pneumonia when it was actually some kind of poison or some kind of thing that caused, I don't know how it all fucking works. I don't drug people for a living, you know? But I mean, when you start to like look at, you know, this Ashton Kutcher stuff, and, you know, he's been totally like fucking quiet since all this has come out. You know, I mean, there's been stories that him and the wife there are breaking up, but then we saw them like together and happy. So I don't know how true all that is, but it really seems pretty suspicious when you look at all the people in these circles mysteriously dying of pneumonia, right? And you really like I didn't even think about it, but it's like, yeah, Brittany Murphy dated Ashton Kutcher for a little while. What did she know in that time? What did she find out? You know? Or maybe she just died of pneumonia. because oftentimes big, rich, powerful celebrities have a hard time getting healthcare. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But this is pretty big. If what this guy turned over here, this Courtney Burgess, if what he's turned over to investigators vets out to be true, people are going to go down a lot sooner than we thought. A lot sooner. All right, dear Lord, the election. My God, craziest election of our time, right? Every election comes along and we go, this is the most important election of our time. And every time we've said that, it's been true. This one is by far the nuttiest. It's the nuttiest election we've ever seen. It's downright crazy. It's fucking crazy. Where should we start? Who should we piss off first? The left or the right? Anybody want? Do we want to live poll that in the chat right now? Who would you like me to upset first? Liberals or conservatives? You let me know, because I got something for everybody on this one. Hell yeah, Donna. Shit show election. By the way, how great was electile dysfunction? I'm so fucking proud of that. Here's the problem, though. I put it. I don't know if that's anybody else's. I put it into AI. I'm like, this is what we're doing. I need a good name. I need something that's fun and edgy. That fits our podcast. And AI gave me like 25 names, but electile dysfunction was by far my favorite because it is so appropriate for this particular election in so many ways, because it's dysfunctional, because women's rights are such a big part of it, because men's sexual reproductive is nowhere near, the ballot on this one, and continues to not be. Electile dysfunction is just so great. I'm so happy, but I'm so afraid to Google it to find out that somebody else came up with it first. And again, it's AI. I can't take full claim for it. I did decide to put it in AI, though. I don't know if that helps me at all. All right, Mountaintop says left, right. Like marching orders. Paul would like me to leave, take my dog with me. I could do that. It would be pretty boring. This is what would happen if I would go, though. Might help Paul, but doesn't make for an exciting podcast. All right, let's upset the left first. Let's do the left first. They're good sports always. I don't love being a Trump defender. It's never been part of I've never been like, I can't wait to defend Donald Trump tonight. It's not exactly what I look forward to doing. I don't particularly like him all that much. I don't think he was a great president. My life was not that much better 4 years ago. I don't think he knows how to govern. This is not left hate. This is just, I've seen the man do the job. I wasn't all that impressed. I didn't think he did great during the pandemic. I don't particularly enjoy him as a person. But most of all, out of all the things, I just don't think he was good at governing. I think his chaotic way of managing people works for his business. I don't think it works for the country. It's not personal. It's not liberal tears and hate. I just didn't think he was that good at it, So, and nothing that he's done. And I also did not like, you guys know this. I did not like January 6th. I especially did not like that he didn't show up at the inauguration. I did not like that he never conceded the election. And there's plenty of there to, and watching conservatives defend that. Like, I've been watching Ben Shapiro and some of these conservatives. Who's the woman? Who's the blonde woman who's got a podcast now? She was on Fox News. Megan Fox? No, not Megan Fox. Megyn Kelly. Watching those people like navigate the but he did it. It's just like, okay. This is like the most. It's tough to fucking defend. Like, and all these people, Tucker included. 6 years from now, whether Trump gets in or not, 6 years from now, They're all going to be like, that guy was the worst. We didn't want. They're all going to, trust me when I tell you, they're all going to be going, we didn't want to do it, but we had no choice. We were going with the conservative thing. You know, it was a tough time. They're all going to watch. They're all going to separate themselves from him. But I have to defend him on this one because, again, along with the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, mislabeling Tony Hinchcliffe not as a comedian, but as a speaker at a Trump rally, Trump sits down and says this, again, wacko, stupid thing, because I really believe that this is his game plan now. I believe Trump has not listened to any of his campaign people for a long time. I think he's doing what he wants, and his game plan now is talk and say as much crazy shit as I possibly can and watch the liberals cry over it. Right? That's what he's doing. He's trying to take the ball out of Kamala's hand, just like in football. If my offense is out on the field, their defense has to be out on the field, and they can't score points when they're on defense. Right? That's what I think his game plan is right now at the current moment. And he did it again. He goes and he was talking to Tucker Carlson, and he calls, and I could play the clip for you. As soon as I saw the clip, I watched it. I watched the clip and I go, okay. And I fucking scrolled on to the next thing because it wasn't that big of a deal. He basically said that, and I'm going to call it up because now people are not going to believe me and everybody's going to shout at me in the chat. So I'll let you guys hear it. But he basically said that, you know, she's a war hawk. And how would she like it if, you know, she was in the barrel or people were pointing the gun at her and blah, blah, blah. But he's basically saying, you know, what he's saying, and I got it, because when he was saying it, I didn't need anybody to translate it for me. I didn't need anybody's fucking opinion on what they thought he meant. I listened to what he said and I go, oh, this is what I think he means. He means her father was part of an administration that sent a lot of people my age. I had friends who went over and fought in the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, to a region to fight for something that we had no right to be there for. I mean, I think everybody disagrees that whole war looking for weapons of mass destruction that never existed was a big waste and a huge mistake. That was her father. That's the truth. So to him, him to label her as a war hawk, okay, it might not be true because she never sent anybody to war, but the association with her father, that's good enough for Trump. I see the connection. He says that, and he basically says, how would she like it if she was in the barrel and had everybody pointing their guns at her? And of course, the left takes this now, and they're like, Kamala as well, and they're like, now Donald Trump wants to see Liz Cheney get executed, and they're trying to pull in this whole thing about how he said the stuff about the enemy from within, which that stuff, like, that's what kills me. Stay on that. Trump was wrong for that. This is one of the things that scares me the most, is him talking about the enemy from within and him talking about using the military and the National Guard. That's the scary thing. He said that. He has not distanced himself from that. Nobody in the right can defend that. He was wrong for that. Very wrong. You got him dead to rights there. Stay with that. This whole, oh, now he wants Liz Cheney. That's not what he meant. What he meant is he's basically trying to say, I never sent anybody to war, but you know, they're throwing Liz Cheney around there like, oh, look, they got a Republican to flip. And now he's changing the narrative of, well, she's a war hawk. How would she like it? And blah, blah. Like, who cares if Liz Cheney flipped? She's a war hawk is basically what he's saying, you know, and the left takes that as now they're like, well, did you hear he wants to have Liz Cheney executed? That's not what he said. You know, it's not what he said. And again, I'm hard on the left because he's talking so much crazy, and I just want them to focus on the issues. And when he does say something really bad, then you could go for it. Like, the enemy from within should be, you know, that we should use the military on them. That's fucking crazy. That's really bad. Keep that in the forefront. Run that ad. Run the ad when he says the enemy from within needs to be dealt with by the National Guard and, when possible, the military. And then run the next clip when he says the enemy from within is Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. He can't deny that. Run that as a commercial over and over again. You have him there. You want to scare people into not voting for him? That's the clip to do it with. Not this. This, they're wrong. They're wrong. And Kamala is wrong for, moving it out. Now, I said that they were wrong for the Tony Hinchcliffe thing. Maybe it moved the needle for them. Maybe they don't give a shit at this point. What's going to help them, move along? But you ask me, drop this one because you don't have it. And I always feel like this is what gives the right the leverage to be like, look at the media, look at the left, look at the big machine. They're putting words in my mouth. They're trying to make it sound like, you give people that doubt, right? You give them that reasonable doubt in that moment. You're giving it to them. Don't give it to them. So I have a big problem with that. And again, I wouldn't have done that. I would not have done that. Bird says, I'm scared what 2 weeks from now looks like. You want me to? Oh, Robin wants me to play the audio. Okay, hang on. I can't. I'm not going to deny a Robin claim. Guy's been a fucking MVP the whole fucking year. Him, Miss Justice, Bird, Paul, everybody's having a goddamn MVP year. I'm not going to deny you guys. Can't do it. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I do hate having to play that dumb fuck Tucker Carlson. I really hate that guy. But I will do it. I'll bite the bullet. I'll swallow the bullet. All right, I didn't premiere. I haven't checked out any of these things. We're doing it. We're doing it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Let's see if this is the clip. I think this is it.
Is it weird for you to see Liz Cheney, that'd be Dick Cheney's repulsive little daughter, running against you with Kamala Harris?
Well, I think it hurts Kamala a lot, actually. Look, she's a deranged person. But the reason she couldn't stand me is that she always wanted to go to war with people. I don't want to go to war. She wanted to stay in Syria. I took them out. She wanted to stay in Iraq. I took them out. I mean, if it were up to her, we'd be in 50 different countries. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. When the guns are trained on her face. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person. And I used to I'd have meetings with a lot of people, and she always wanted to go to war with people.
Okay, now, come on. Let me know in the live chat. We'll poll it. Let me know in the live chat. Does that make it sound like he's saying, "Hey, we should kill Liz Cheney by firing squad," or is that sound like what he's saying, which is like she wanted to go to war all the time? She always wanted to go to war. Let's see how she does when let's put her in the soldiers. He's basically saying, put her in the soldiers' shoes and see how she feels about war then. I mean, do you disagree with that? I mean, that's basically what he's saying. There's nothing in that makes me feel like he is like, hey, we should execute, I mean, come on. And Paul, I love you. Consider the source. I love you. But here's why I know I'm right. Here's why I know I'm right. Because he has said it. He said it a couple of days ago when he's like, the enemy from within is Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi. We should deal with them with the National Guard if we have to. That is him saying it then. This is just him going, this person's a crazy war fucking, she's just war crazy. So her endorsement means nothing. He's saying, how would she like it being in the shoes of a soldier? Come on. Am I wrong? That's what he's saying. We can admit it. We don't have to stretch Donald Trump's words to fit a narrative. He's giving it to you at other moments. He's giving it to you. This makes the Democrats look worse. It just flat out does. Where was I? Bird is worried about how things are going to look 2 weeks from now. Jerry Seinfeld actually got in trouble. Come on, what do you mean I got in trouble? How'd I get in trouble? He's ripping his kid's school. By the way, his kids don't go there anymore because this private school in New York is going to allow emotionally distressed students to skip classes the day after the election. The Ethical Culture Fieldston School Administration wrote in a newsletter to parents entitled Election Day Support, the upcoming presidential election may be high stakes and an emotional time for students. Students will not be assigned homework on Election Day, and there will not be any assessments on Wednesday. The kids will also be allowed excused absence on Wednesday or whenever the election results are announced if they feel unable to fully engage in classes. What the fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you doing? Give kids homework. Kids should not be involved in any of this. They should be distracted. We're not going to give them homework on Tuesday. Why? So they can stew in this? Give them fucking homework. Also, if you have a child, if you have anybody under the age of 21, or I'll lower it to 18, who's like, can you put on the TV? I want to watch the election. You've done something wrong. Because any 18-year-old and under should be like, can I put on Netflix and watch can I watch my show? I just want to watch what 17-year-old is like, I got to get in on this. I got to see who takes Michigan. The fuck? I didn't give a flying fuck about politics, but until I had to vote, none of that shit mattered. Or what does a 17-year-old care about? You can't do anything about it. Go watch. I don't even know what fucking 17-year-olds watch. I don't even, this is good. No soup until after the election. You're emotionally distressed? No soup for you. I mean, Jesus, God damn it. Like, give the kids fucking homework. What you should really do is give them history homework. Let them learn about past elections and presidents and our founding fathers and the Constitution. Let them learn the great stuff about what makes America so wonderful. Not this election. Not this election. Yeah, kids should be, they should be sexting each other on fucking Snapchat and whatever they do. You know, they should be trying to get titty shots from the cute girl next to them. And the girl should try to be getting penis pics from the cute boy in fucking science class. Let kids do what kids do. You know? That's what I did. Not the penis pictures so much, just, trying to get with the chicks. But still, you know where I'm going with this. You got other shit to worry about. Sports and fashion and, I don't know. I don't even know what kids are. I don't think I know any 16-year-old. Do I know any? No. All the kids in my life have grown. They're like 18, 20 now. I got no six. It's either 8-year-old or 20-year-old. I got nobody in the middle to give me any sort of reference anymore. It's stupid. Bird says, just remember, no matter who wins, I love you all, and I hope we can remember that we are actually in this together. We are actually in the same country. Yeah, it's a good point, Bird. It's a great point. This is the same country, despite all the crazy rhetoric we've had over the last couple of days. That's why I ultimately decided to do electile dysfunction on Tuesday night, because it's like, I want to be with you guys. I don't want to be with anybody else. Now, Frankie C was supposed to be here. Aaron C is coming up to play the game. But they're both not going to be here next week because they're on vacation. So it'll be, I would imagine J-Sabs might jump in with us for a little bit, but it'll be just me and you. And we'll just watch the results come in together. That's really it. It's not going to be an exciting, thrilling show. I'll try and prepare some material for you guys. We'll try and cover some stories and such, but basically it's just going to be a hang. In fact, I don't even know if I'm going to do it up here in the studio. I might do it from my living room just so I could watch the TV and just be with you guys. I mean, I think we're going to do it up here. Susan says, great show. Don't know how I landed on it. I don't know either, Susan, but I'm happy you're here. It's good to have you along for the mix. Again, another cruise. Can I tell you, these motherfuckers go on 17 cruises a year. They're on the fucking water more than they are the land. These pieces of shit. I don't even know. I think they're selling drugs because I have no idea. They're fucking voting in places that serve omelet stations. They're on there. This is like a 14-week cruise. They're going on right now. I have no idea what they're doing, but it feels illegal. I mean, in my heart of hearts, it feels illegal. I don't know. I just don't know. There's a lot to that. There's a lot to this lead there, Lindarella. They do have a dog that they spoil the shit out of, though. I mean, they spoil that fucking dog. They spend probably as much money on that dog as I spend on my 2 kids. I love that little guy. He is adorable, though. Cut Cruise 2023. That's hysterical, Neil, but it is 2024, buddy. I'm sorry. I don't like correcting jokes, but that was too obvious. Yeah, I guess that Oval's doing well. It might be all Oval money. I don't know. RNC will be here shortly, and we can ask her for sure. We could find out from her. And kudos to Robin for putting that link in the live chat right there. But yeah, I am worried about where we're going to go with this, because you can see the Republicans lining up already for, Trump has already started to lay the groundwork for this election is stolen. There's been some lawsuits and things that are going on. Everything has been explained. The Pennsylvania thing I looked into, all this kind of stuff I looked into, which brings me to this point. There was this wonderful report from CNN, which I don't get to say often, but there was this wonderful report from CNN. They put together this whole piece about what it's like to be in the Magga media. And it's funny because this is the stuff that we've been complaining about, but I never thought to put it together in a whole report. Well, credit senior correspondent Donnie O'Sullivan for doing so. But he, essentially went through what it's like to be in the MAGA media bubble, and it is a miserable place. And going back to what I was saying before about cable news, what's interesting is I have, how many people, I'll put it in the live chat right now. How many of you still have cable? If you still have cable, just write cable in the live chat. If you don't have cable and you stream, you strictly stream, put stream in there. If you don't have TV at all, put no TV at all, or put no TV. Put that in the live chat right now. I would love to hear from everybody watching live. I want everybody to put a vote in on what the deal is, because me personally, I don't have cable anymore. I do pay for this service called Fubo because I didn't want cable, but the only way to watch my beloved Islanders was to this was the only streaming service that had Islander games on it. So I pay for that, and then everything else I pay for is, Disney and for the kids and Netflix and HBO and all that stuff, Max. But I literally do not watch most of the channels on that Fubo. But what I noticed on Fubo, and while I was like looking around for cable alternatives, was like, if you go on Amazon, for instance, right? Amazon has like a whole list of free channels. If you go on Amazon and you don't pay for Amazon Prime, you could still watch like a bunch of free channels, and there's so many streaming services out there that are free, like Roku, some of the Rokus, there's a free Roku channel. A lot of people like offering free channels that you just pay for, but then there's also just full-on services where you can just stream channels. And some things you can stream like other news channels from other places. And there's like, we've basically got to a place right now. Let's see some of these responses here. Lots of streaming. Look at this. Plex is like a streaming thing, right? That's where you download stuff. Fly and Y, stream, Netflix, stream. Rhonda holding on to that cable. both, but hardly ever watch cable. Streaming makes me crazy. Oh my God, Tina, why can't I be like you? No TV, but streams, I guess, a little. Golden streaming. That was good. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, I have Roku. Raven, I always forget the Roku. Okay. Seems like most people are not really on the cable anymore. But you go on some of these streaming services and there's just these fucking crazy ass channels. And I noticed this a while ago, and I never really brought it up, but it's the truth. Like, there are so many bizarre, weird cable channels, I guess, for lack of a better, or streaming channels, for lack of a better term. And, it's interesting. I saw one like months ago. I was watching it because I forget what the title was. It was such a crazy fucking title. And I clicked on it, and it was just this guy, similar setup to mine, bookcase in the back. By the way, if you want to know if somebody's full of shit or not, there's a bookcase behind them. If they're like, I need to look intelligent, so I'm going to do it in front of the fucking bookcase. That is a bullshit artist liar. Okay, just a fucking liar. The bookcase thing during the pandemic. Okay, fine. Now everybody was scrambling to do these home setups. But if it's 2024 and you're still streaming in front of a fucking bookcase, get out of my face, because I have no time for your bullshit. But then I was like flipping around, because once I got onto this crazy asshole, there was so many others. And so this report that CNN did, they literally like went through all these channels. And look, it's one thing for people to do this on YouTube. We know there's tons of, these things on YouTube. There's tons of shows like ours that just focus on the right wing. But every one of them is fucking miserable. Every one of them. Every one of them. Every one of them is fear mongering 1,000% of the time. And I'm just like, how do these people exist? How do you live every day with like the world is ending? I just have no fucking clue. It makes me so miserable. Hi, Erin.
Hey.
How's it going?
No, I'm good. Don't let me stop you telling me how you're miserable, though.
I was just talking about some of these crazy, like right-wing channels that are out there, and these people, it's one world-ending thing after the next. And a lot of people on the right, this is all they consume nowadays. Like, it's unbelievable to me that they've, like, I've never, like, at the end of a long day, do you dream about settling down in your couch and going, how am I going to die tomorrow? How's it all going to blow up tomorrow? I just want to watch Everybody Loves Raymond or some old song. Like, there's a reason why all these things are so fucking popular nowadays.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, God forbid you'd miss the motorcycle.
We'd have missed the motorcycle guy got home. I'll have to find out what that guy's doing for a living, that he's getting home every day at 10 o'clock.
Did you have another topic? Because I came on because I wanted to test this, and I realized I accidentally ended this video. I might be early.
Well, I'm sensitive to it now because you came on last time and you were like, what?
Sorry about that. But I have a really I can't hold this in anymore. I cannot believe how crazy that is about Brittany Murphy, because I have been like wondering what killed Brittany Murphy for a long time. And there's actually a connection to you, I think, with this story. Mind if I tell?
Well, now it's out there now. I mean, Jesus.
Okay. No. Did you have your bachelor party in Atlantic City?
Yes.
Okay. So when you were having your bachelor party in Atlantic City, my parents were across the lake at Cape May. And Frank was like, I'll drive you to Cape May. You can be with your parents, and then I'll go to the bachelor party. So the next morning, he wakes up alive. You wake up alive. Awesome. I'm at brunch with my parents. And for some reason, normally I'm a girl, keep it low. Don't talk too loud. Don't go unhinged at brunches. I was like telling my parents, like, Brittany Murphy and pneumonia and mold and AIDS and what caused this? And I was just going crazy. And like a waiter was like, the the chef would love if you stopped screaming like mold and AIDS and Brittany Murphy. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll stop. But after you said this, it just like, it feels like everything just clicked. You know, like the Rosetta Stone, like you just move it 1 degree and then all the words are translated.
Yeah.
I'm going crazy. I want to call my dad and be like, we're going to brunch tomorrow, brunch part 2, because Anthony, of all people, no offense, but figured out what, I'm sorry, that came out wrong. But what I'm saying is the man who was across the lake,
No,
the
it
first
didn't.
time we talked about this.
It didn't come out wrong. It came out accurate.
No. By the way, I voted. Yeah.
Oh, I got the sticker too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen,
how long ago I voted. I'm a little ashamed on how long this has been here. But
it's crazy to think, but you have to think about it. I mean, the pneumonia thing is weird. And then when you put it with other people in his orbit dying the same way, I mean,
you should have seen, I was going crazy.
And where's Ashton Kutcher been all this time? Silence.
Oh, running a foundation for this very thing, like
right, which makes it look worse, right? Doesn't it? Like,
yes, it looks like I don't know.
Looks like the Catholic Church trying to help children, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we've been molesting them all these years. Like, you're like, fuck.
One cop who tips off before the raid happens,
right?
Because they're
yeah,
in movies, not in real life. In movies, in the Departed.
Paul says, if I vote, do I get to go? Do I get a cruise?
I know.
Did you catch the part of the show where I alleged you guys are selling drugs illegally? Okay, all right, good.
Oh, it's sweet.
You're all cool. Sweet.
No, well, actually, you know what happened is we booked an Alaskan cruise, and then nothing happened. It didn't leave the dock. So we had this cruise planned a year, but then we were like, you know what? That last cruise, we didn't go anywhere. We just sat on a boat with a free drink package and tons of trivia and karaoke. So that didn't count. So we went on another cruise last summer because we hadn't been technically away. So anyway, the point is that there's a method to the madness, but yes, I am. There's one who said that, are you going on the 4-year cruise if certain person wins? And I think that's a great idea.
That would be nice. If you go, let me know if there's a group rate. I might want to jump in on that. They got Wi-Fi on that boat. Could we do the show from it?
They got rescue, baby.
All right, that'd be good.
No, they don't.
So you voted. You got the sticker. What kind of omelet did you have?
Bacon and broccoli, which a lot of people don't like, but I had it at the Brittany Murphy brunch, and since
it's one of my favorite jokes of your stupid husbands of all time, because it's rare that I don't often do the show and then watch the clips afterwards and then laugh, but it did come up on my timeline, and when he said it, I audibly laughed out loud again.
What?
When he said, when we were teasing him about, he was describing the place you guys voted, and he was like, there were chandeliers. And I was like, what'd you get? Fried calamari? And he goes, there was an omelet station, actually. When he says there's an omelet station, I was like on the floor laughing again.
Yeah.
And Cuddles looks at me like, you were there. Like, you heard that line before, I'm like, I don't know. It's still funny to me. Like, it's still, she looks at me weird, as she should. My last thing about election before we move on to the game here is LeBron James came out and endorsed Kamala Harris. And what's funny, we were just talking about, I was just saying how disappointed I was in the left for framing this whole Liz Cheney thing the wrong way. Watch the LeBron James video that he put out. I think it was on Instagram, his Instagram. He frames Donald Trump in a way where you're like, yeah, that's it. That was done so well. Like, it was done. I think should we watch it? I think there's music or something on it. I don't know. We could get in trouble for this one, but I watched the video and I was like, this is pretty powerful. And look, it's not everybody's plight, but it's his. Right? Like, this is LeBron James's view of Donald Trump. And
all right, heck yes. Black guy. That's one of my buddies. He had fun. We carved water.
Hey, hold on.
Together.
Again, and I defended Tony Hinchcliffe, but I defend LeBron James I think he uses Tony Hinchcliffe well here in this instance here. This is the LeBron James video that he put out endorsing Kamala Harris.
All right. Heck yeah. It's cool. Black guy. That's one of my buddies. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome.
No, I'm not a racist. They're taking black jobs now. The whole country's going to be like, it'll be like Detroit. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? They're poisoning the blood of our country. Troublemaker. These are troublemakers. Look, I love the old days, you know? Do you know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. Now, if you had one really violent day, like one rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately. But we're going to indemnify police officers and law enforcement from being destroyed by the radical left. You're changing history, you're changing culture.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people because maybe hate is what we need.
I thought that was pretty powerful because I was like, this is LeBron's perspective. I mean, this is a lot of people's perspective, you know? And I mean, I've said this before on the show too, that you can draw a direct line between, you know, Trump's tactic and how Hitler rose to power, you know, and how this, oh, do you have a problem in your life? Well, it's these people's fault. You know, it's not your fault. It's these people, you know? And for Hitler, it was the Jews. And for Donald Trump, it's the left. He's created a world where you're not the problem. Your problems are not your own. It's these people. And lucky for you to act now and put me in office, and I will fix all of this for you, you know? And it's just like this puffy dream that he sold us the first time around that never was completed. And now he's doubling down on it. And it's speaking to people's weakness to be like, oh, this guy, there'll be free pizza on Fridays if we elect this guy, you know? So I thought that was interesting. I thought the Detroit line was one of the most damning lines of like, oh, the country's going to turn into Detroit. And it's like, yeah, there's poor white people in Detroit too, but that air of, we know what that little wink of like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, we're going to go the way of the bad, you know, minority neighborhoods is kind of what he's saying in that instance. And that's how LeBron is interpreting it and passing it along. So I thought out of all the endorsements, not to take away from Taylor Swift, because I don't want to upset this Taylor Swift fan or the other Swifties. I don't want you guys on my ass with the whole cat thing, but I thought his was the most eloquent and like, hey, everybody, this is where I'm coming from and this is who I'm voting for. It certainly beat the pants off of Jake Paul, who endorsed Donald Trump in the worst possible way ever. I don't know if you saw that one, but that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And fuck Jake Paul if I haven't said that already yet, because that guy sucks. Anyway, oh, I'm sorry, Aaron. We're gonna do the game. Yeah, no, we're gonna do the game. One last thing.
Came in early. Don't please.
Okay. Because we'll skip the Bonnie Blue thing. That's kind of a non-story anyway.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a weird story. JD Vance went on Joe Rogan, and I have to share this because rarely do I like Anderson Cooper. Out of all like the bad, awful news people, I do like Anderson Cooper. The guy's got the flair about him. But Anderson Cooper reacted to this thing that JD Vance said on Joe Rogan, and I was, again, just bowled over laughing, cackling so hard as I thought it was so fucking funny.
I think that
all right, here, let me bring this up for you so everybody can see this too. Okay, so it starts with Rogan and JD Vance. It might not be so loud, so you got to kind of like lean into it. And then, as you see, Stitching coming here, and thanks to the Courier newsroom for putting this together, it's Anderson Cooper's reaction.
And I think that, frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if me and Trump won just the normal gay guy vote.
Oh,
Because
but what the different where the line is between a normal gay person and a not normal gay person.
I mean, the question is,
I'm assuming I can guess what it is, like, you know, anything related to drag, I guess in you know, that drag, you know, wearing as much makeup as Donald Trump wears, that would be considered not normal. It's fine for Donald Trump, but on a gay guy, that wouldn't be considered normal.
So I found that very, very funny when he says, when he drops the makeup line. I thought that was really good from Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
It's true though. What does he mean by, well, who are the not normal gay guys? What is that? The drag queens? Is that what he's referring to? You know,
like Detroit. Like you know what they're saying. They say
yeah. And again, and this is why I get so mad at the left for taking leaps like they did with Liz Cheney. Look, the Tony Hinchcliffe thing, everybody could argue with me. I'll, you know, that's fine. The Liz Cheney thing was like, I mean, that's just wrong. And the thing is, you don't need to do it. There's plenty there. There's plenty of other shit there to do it with. Anyway, I don't want to be a broken record. JD is giving gay vibes. 1 million. Let me tell you something. JD Vance has sucked a penis. I've never been so sure of anything in my life. Like he's let me see how this feels. Definitely 1,000,000%. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's something wrong with it when you come out so much against gay people and trans people afterwards. So, but yeah, we have the drag pictures of him in the Halloween thing and everything. He's definitely licked a penis. I've never been so sure of anything in my life.
Gotta say allegedly.
Allegedly. Thank you for saving you. I probably owe you a lot of money for saving me from lawsuits.
Miss Justice.
Yeah, so I already broke the news that you guys are going away on vacation. So this is the last bit of the C's that we'll have for a while now. So, and it's a long vacation. We don't have to go into the details. By the way, can we talk about what happened to Frank after the 420 show?
Yeah, he was just
We don't have to tell the full story, but the waking up
in the morning.
Frank was so buzzed. He goes, I woke up the next morning and I was still drunk. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a real, I've heard people say that before, but I didn't even know that was a real thing.
No, I don't think he metabolizes alcohol like other people do because he never gets hungover. He's never been hungover in his life. But he'll have a drink and then like hours later I'll be like, can you drive? And he's like, can you drive? And it's like, I just don't think he metabolizes it as quickly as other people. And then he like, also it's like the same, my sister's the exact opposite. She used to take medicine and burn it off so quickly that they thought that like my parents like wanted to like, the point is that she metabolizes alcohol and medicine so fast that she's like in science books. And then my husband's on the exact opposite side where Frank takes the Tylenol and 3 years later, he's like, I'm still good. It's like, cool. But on the same token, it's so strange the way he just woke up and he was still a little, like couldn't drive. So
that's funny that you said that about the medicine because one of our friends once told me, because I was taking Tylenol and I would always complain. I'm like, this doesn't work for me. And then they go, how many Tylenols are you taking? I'm like, 2. They're like, you should take 3. I'm like, can you do that? They're like, you can do it. Yeah. So I started taking 3 Tylenols and I'm like, oh, this works now. I'm like, that's pretty, because I guess it's just different for some people how much it takes to kind of like, make it all work. So
J Sabs and I have this joke. I mean, I'm sure it's been said, but we say to each other all the time because she has allergies and she takes Benadryl. And the joke is like, you can't have allergies if you're asleep. Like it's not really an allergy medication. You just go to sleep. But like, seriously, I have like licked a Benadryl and been totally fired. You know what I mean? Like there's somewhere it's like Tylenol. It's like exactly 2 is like, I could also take 2 M&Ms. Does the same thing. But Benadryl, I cannot believe you don't have to have a prescription. That thing is dangerous, my friend.
I know it is. But there's a Benadryl sleep is a good sleep.
It's a good sleep. I lick Benadryl and I get tired.
All right, we got a blind top 5 here, which is it 8 or 9?
It's 8.
Okay.
And it's I hope you guys all had a happy Halloween. It was either going to be the day before Halloween or the day after. You got the day after, but it's a little spooky one. If you don't like scary movies, or scary characters, I don't know if you're gonna like this one. It's the scariest one we've ever done on AOA, and this is fill in 8. make 8 spots for 1 through 8 for horror movies you would not want to be in. Now, I'm going to tell you the horror movie. I'm going to tell you the situation that you personally are in, what age you are, and what's going on. And then if you think that you would easily survive it, put it low, like 8. And if you think that you would definitely, it would be your time, because this villain's going to get you, put it toward 1. So the easily survivable ones for you, lower. The ones where it would be truly scary for you because your time might be up is number 1. Everybody cool? The only person who can answer is Anthony.
Got it.
Okay, cool. So number 1 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. You're a teenager in this scenario, and the knife-fingered, fedoraed one has been taking out your friends on his turf in dreams. Could teenage you survive the night?
Okay, and if you feel like you can survive it really well, it goes number 1. If you feel like you wouldn't survive it, it goes 8.
You guys know Freddy Krueger. He kills in dreams. He has knife fingers. He's pretty ruthless. He got campy in the second one with the exception of, I think, 1. But in the first one, he was truly scary. Also, I have my brother-in-law's dog next to me, and that's why I might be, you know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen because he's not my dog. So
Petting it like a evil villain.
that would be amazing. He's white. It was just because the cat is white, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to do stuff. Yep.
I'm going to put this at number 8.
You think that he's easily escapable?
Oh, wait. Oh, is 8 easily escapable or 1? Okay.
Not the one you would not want to be in the most is number 1.
Then I'm going to put it at number 1.
Okay.
I'm going number 1. Freddy Krueger is the worst in the horror genre. I've always felt this way. This is unbelievable that you started with this and I could put it at number 1 because, look at these are, 1, 3, 3, 4, 2. There's a lot of because, okay, and this is so funny that this is the thing because my son has been bugging me to watch horror movies. He's 9. 8?
I know, he's so little to me. I think he's like 4.
I know. He's 8 or 9. I'm not entirely sure. But far too young to be watching horror movies. And he's like, can I watch Scream? Can I watch this? And I've basically resorted to telling him, I'm like, I got news for you, buddy. All these movies suck. I'm like, they're all terrible. I'm like, you're not going to. I go, I don't want to show you them, not because I think you're going to be afraid, but because I want you to grow up to have great taste in movies. You know, I want to show you wonderful things. I'm like, we should watch Pulp Fiction. I'm like, that's the stuff. I know I don't want to show him that right now, but I'm like, I want him to see great cinema. I want him to see Clerks. I want him to see, old school. I want to show him the great movies of our time,
I'm just going to do another parent life hack that my parents did with me because I was so terrified. I only saw the commercials and him on the box of when we were young. Of course, I don't know how old these people are, but remember the box of videos? They used to show the box, they would have the box of the videos with the picture.
Yeah, like the VHS kit. Yeah.
So I would see him and be scared. I didn't see the movies, but in order to get me to stop being scared, my parents were they took a book out of the library and they were like, this is Robert Englund. He is an actor. He is married. He has children. He plays him. Look how he is normally. And I was like, oh, so that really helped me. If anybody has, that helped me.
I had to do that with him and Jared Leto because he would see these that movie Morbius. Remember that? And he was terrified about Morbius. And I'm like, it's Jared Leto. I'm like, he's not even a great actor. I'm like, he's only been good in 1 or 2 things. I'm like, you don't even know. And I had to show him all this other stuff that he was in. And I'm like, he wrote a killer song. I mean, it was only 1, but he's made it.
Jordan Catalano on My So Called Life.
He was Jordan Catalano. Yeah. Heartthrob, man. Heartthrob. But I put Freddy Krueger at number 1 and I feel, that's okay. He goes, my son's going, what's worse, this one or that one? And I go, buddy, I watched Halloween. I fell asleep. And I was like, it was boring. I'm like, you don't understand the pacing of 70s cinema. Was it 70s or 80s?
I'm not positive.
Yeah. I'm like, it was really slow. I mean, it's really slow, and I'm like, you and your fucking YouTube shorts, you're not going to fucking, Anyway, Freddy Krueger I put in as number 1. Indefensible, hard to fight against. you're falling asleep. He's killing you in your dreams. Like, it is, as somebody who has vivid dreams, that feels very real. Like, I just think that he's the worst. And it's hard to battle against that. Everybody else you could run away from, shoot, hit, avoid, outsmart, you have to sleep. You have to go into his world. That's tough.
Okay.
Yeah, that's scary. That is not something that I want to fight against, somebody who you just can't, So, number one for me.
All right. The second entry is Scream. Again, you're a teen in this one, but this time someone is killing our friends while we are wide awake. Could you beat the killer or killers in The Mask?
What's unique about Scream is we don't know who the killer is.
Mhm.
And it's different in every movie now, right? Like, that's kind of how it went, I think, pretty much. I don't know. I don't know really how many I saw after the first one. When you don't know the killer, it's a little harder because it could be anybody around you.
Mhm.
I feel like that's scarier than a Mike Myers or a Jason just like slowly chasing you around while you fucking run and you're in the lake naked with somebody.
I never thought of it that way.
What?
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. I have a fucked up way of looking at the world, Aaron. I don't know if you caught hold of that yet.
No, it's very insightful because you're right. You're going against, like, you also don't know who to trust because Jason is Jason.
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees, but the guy in the mask could be your boyfriend, could be that kid in chemistry, that could be a teacher. Like, they didn't know who it was, but they knew it was someone who was real and in the town. So
right.
Smart man.
Sorry, not to distract, but Kim says Vance may be bisexual. If by maybe you mean definitely, then yes, I agree with that.
Allegedly,
definitely yes. And then Paul also said this. I didn't show it before. Peter Thiel is Vance's sugar daddy. Also true. Peter Thiel, very gay. Not sure if Peter Thiel is normal gay or abnormal gay. We'll have to find out, but we'll get back to you around that.
Okay. Number 3 is Saw. In this one, you are any age you want to be, but it is torture at the hands of a game. But is it a game you think you can win?
Okay. Now you're going to have to help me through some of these. That's the one where they wake up in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying too.
Agreed. I didn't actually see these, but I know the concept.
I saw the first one and I don't remember it whatsoever, other than they woke up in the room.
Yeah, and then they have to do things, I think, solve things, or otherwise you get tortured.
All right, I'm going to put Saw. Me and Sarah and Foxy Friends are together in the number 2 camp here, along with Neil.
Okay. You're being tortured by a game right now. Oh, okay. We'll go faster. Who's ready for number 4?
I'm ready.
Okay, 4 is Poltergeist. You are the age you are now. Something eerie is coming through the television and manipulating your toy clowns and real trees. It's electric. Would we survive? Sorry, electric fly jump.
I almost jumped in.
Paper, but once you say it, what?
No, I almost jumped in and said boogie woogie woogie when you. Yeah, so it was great. It was good.
Thanks.
Full disclosure: I've never seen Poltergeist. I don't even.
Well, something's coming through the TV and it's manipulating things in the house and what you see, and
got it.
Talking through your daughter.
Here's my first problem with horror movies. Can I unplug the TV? Can I stop watching TV?
You must have thought of that.
Right. Like, I mean, this is the problem with these movies. For me, it's like, well, if they unplug the TV, we don't have a movie. So we have to work around that. And I'm just like, why don't we just unplug the TV and go get a sandwich? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to put Poltergeist at number 8. And I feel like I'm just going to wind up stacking all the rest of these horror movies on top.
Okay.
I also I'm not going to show anybody my list because I definitely don't know how to spell Poltergeist. I gave up after ER.
It's not easy to spell that.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5 is the aforementioned Halloween. You're a teenage babysitter. Michael Myers, who is sometimes your brother and sometimes not, has got his sights on you. He's clever, but as speed goes, he's not quick. are you quicker? There's
Yeah,
the kind of lore where he's in like one of them, he's her brother, and then they go back and say that's actually not true. So
yeah. Halloween, worst franchise ever. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Boring movies. All of them are terrible. Just run. You know, there was that insurance commercial where they're like, should we get in the running car or should we hide behind the saw? You know, that's every horror movie to me. So number 7, terrible. You can't unplug this. You got to run from it. I like my listing here. Number 7 for sure.
oh, Rhonda says Poltergeist doesn't need electricity. Okay. I thought that it was like, I remember coming out of the TV and being kind of
Right.
um
Can I remove the TV from the house? Right. See what I'm saying? Like there's ways to alleviate, like, all right, great. Let's, you know.
okay, let's just split the difference and say that's how they originally came in, and then when they manifested because they had that portal entry. Like they're all like a door. Cool.
Got it. Got it.
Rhonda, we good? Let me know. All right. Next up is Dawn of the Dead. Any of these, you know, Night of the Living Dead. We're not saying the Z word, but are you saying you'd be able to stay safe? Any kind of zombie movie, except for World War Z, where they could run. All of those tiered, you know, where they're. I think I said the Z word.
Give me the synopsis of Dawn. Do you know what happens in Dawn of the Dead? Can you give me
basically like people are, you know, they take refuge in a mall because everyone is has become a zombie, and they're slow, but they're numerous, and they want your brains.
Got it. Okay. Put this at 6. Again, I'm just stacking in reverse order now. Zombies are a different story because you got to run away from those. And there's a lot of them, like you said. Maybe I should put Dawn of the Dead higher. I actually wrote Dawn of the Dawn. That's not good. I'm going to put Dawn of the Dead higher. I don't like I don't like zombies. Zombies, they're troublesome. Because they keep coming, you know? Yeah. I'm putting Dawn of the Dead at 4.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, that's
4.
Yeah, that's you got to deal with that. That's a problem. Yeah, Robin's got it up at 2. Rhonda, by the way, is good with Poltergeist. That's good. 5 for Miss Justice, 6 for Neil, 4 for Rhonda, 3 for TD. Yeah, okay. I'm happy with my 4. That needs to be moved up a little bit.
Okay. So 2 left, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the penultimate is The Purge. You are the age you are now. 1 night a year where anything is allowed. Are you going to be one of those who hears the klaxon alarm when it's over in the morning?
Now, the deal with The Purge, you couldn't just stay inside? Are they saying that people are coming for you no matter what, they're dragging you out of your house? Is that what people are? Okay.
It feels as if they keep trying to find ways to be impenetrable, and they keep changing the rules or making technology where that's not allowed.
Yeah. Purge is a problem for me because I say a lot of things that upset a lot of different people. So I feel like a lot of people will be knocking on this door come Purge Day.
Oh, no. Scary.
But tricks on you, I'm on a cruise with Frankie and Erin. So, you know, I'm getting at it. Like, you can't leave the country before, like 2 weeks
totally
before?
Can. And it's weird that they did the opposite, which is, but the idea is that the rich and the sick, I mean, the poor and the sick can't leave. Like the poor and the sick can't afford these. The whole idea is that the government feels it's a way to get rid of people that they don't want to insure and pay for and stuff. So it's more the idea that sure, you can leave, but most of the people in the high are usually not the targets. They're usually the ones who do it. And another thing is that a weird flip on that is that there was purge tourism in one where other people from other countries come to be like, they want to be part of it, which I don't understand at all, but they did a little snippet of that in one of the movies.
Wait, was that a movie or was that just a Trump speech from the campaign?
Just a very small, like 2-minute part of the movie, like people arriving in the airport and being like, purge, like I'm from France and, you know, I can't wait to do this.
Got it. Okay. Here's why I don't buy into this at all, because if we really had a thing where anything goes, the poor would rise up and kill all the wealthy. I strongly believe this would be a thing. Like, it would be every bad neighborhood pouring into the good neighborhood to fucking hang these people, and that would be the purge. So that's why I think we don't have a real purge right now.
Maybe that'll be Purge 9, because there are a lot of them, man.
Yeah. I mean, why would, I mean, history just shows, hey, when the poor people are treated shitty after a while, they rise up and kill the people in power and the wealthy people. That's kind of how it goes. So, all right, I'm putting The Purge at 6. I'm not too scared of that because of my cruise plan. My last space is 5.
Okay. So for the last space, it is Cloverfield. You're a douchebag in your 20s in New York City, and a giant sea monster is wreaking havoc. Will you live to be a douchebag in your 30s?
Yeah, that one's okay. That's hard. Sea monster's hard to fight against. And that was one of those first digital horror movies that did really well that people still love to this day, right? And I don't think people are panning the Cloverfield movie.
I love it.
It holds up, right? It's still, yeah.
Oh, scary.
All right, I'm putting that at number 5. That's tough. Again, I didn't really see that whole thing. That was kind of tough to put. Mike Myers didn't make this list. This is a good list.
Mike Myers made it. Jason didn't.
Oh, Jason didn't. That's right. I'm sorry. Mike Myers is Halloween. Yeah, Jason. What was Jason's story? I forgot Jason's story.
Okay, Jason, in the original one, it was his mom, which was bizarre. They like did something to they act not so accidentally did something to her child, and then in the second one, he rises from I think the lake and kills campers. But
right,
big horror. It used to be like not like a secret, but this thing like, do you really love horror? Because the first movie was Mrs. Voorhees was the killer, and like nobody knew that. And then Scream came out, and then when that guy was like, you know, Casey, do you want to live? Answer this question. And they were like, who's the villain? And I'm sorry, I'm not doing a very good voice at all. Friday the 13th, and she was like, Jason, it was Jason. I saw that movie 100 times. And he's like, no, wrong. Then you should know it was Mrs. Voorhees. And she's like, you tricked me. Anyway, until Scream, it was this weird little thing that people didn't know, because Jason is the what's that called? The poster boy for those movies, not the mom. Right.
But you know what, though? That's what I keep telling my son that, because he asked me about the Screams, because he's like, Dad, there's like 14 Screams now. Like, what's good? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm like, the first one is good. I don't like horror movies, but I do like the first Scream. And the reason why is because it's that first meta, like, oh, we're acknowledging this genre, and we're also in it. That I appreciated. That I thought made it really good. You know, that part of it I liked, but all the rest of these, it's like, Jesus Christ, give me a fucking break already.
Absolutely.
It's crazy ass stupid shit. So anyway,
I hope the torture wasn't too bad, girl. Everybody
this was good. This was good. How are you doing? Are you packed? Are you ready to go? Are you excited?
Totally packed. Totally excited. Yeah.
You gotta. You ready? You're excited? I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you. We will miss you guys, though. I can't believe that we actually, to show how long I've been planning this cruise. Frank was the one who was like, you know, we'll be away for the election. And I was like, no. Oh, because it was like last year that I booked this thing. So I feel like I wanted to, if I was here, I definitely would want to be with you guys and no one else in the world, including my family and friends. Not that you guys aren't my friends and family, but it's just the idea that like I'm echoing your sentiment that this is where I would be.
Where else do you want? All right. It's I mean, I would want to be on a cruise, honestly, but second to that, I would like to be here. And that's why we're doing it. Cause it's like, what else are we going to do? Not be together? It feels weird.
I also want to echo Bird's thing that we're all in this together. That's a really great sentiment, girl. And so we'll see you. And I'm sure there'll be a lot to discuss in a couple of weeks, but everyone stay safe and be happy. And I adore you. Bye.
Erin C, everybody. Erin C, ladies and gentlemen. There she goes. What a stellar little appearance to come in here and pick up some of that missing Frank action and be here for everybody. That was nice. I would not be here on the day before I had to leave for vacation. Usually on the day before vacation, Cuddles and I are up till 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking weighing our suitcase, being like, is it over 40 pounds? I don't know. It feels like it's over. And I'm like, I think it's close. And then we have like a little scale and we put it on the scale and we're like, it's 64 pounds. Jesus Christ. All right, we got to fucking start repacking some shit here. That's basically, you know, it's funny. Cuddles and I rarely ever fight. We rarely ever fight. Most of our fights, like if you looked at our percentage of fighting, I would say 3% are like stuff with the kids, right? Other kind of relationship things. And 97% is how much to pack on a trip. We do not see eye to eye on trip packing. We fight and argue over this all because I'm like, we just do carry-ons. Like when I was younger, I never checked a bag. I was just like, carry on. We'll figure it out. I'll send my stuff out to cleaning if I need to. I don't give a shit. I'm on vacation. Fuck it. Who cares? I'm packing light. I'm grabbing my suitcase. I want to be in the pool. I want to be in the ocean. 3 minutes after I land, I'm like, I can't be standing there waiting for the thing. And I still think that you can have that attitude with 2 children. And my wife, who's more realistic, is like, we can't be doing this shit. You know, we just can't have this kind of shit going on. So that's what we fight about for sure. It's very nice of everybody to wish them a good time on their cruise. They definitely deserve it. They booked this cruise like a long time ago, and it's a really big fun cruise. So it should be exciting. You know, it's funny. I almost voted yesterday on Halloween because we were coming back from trick or treating, and the polling place near me was open late. And I was like, I wonder if there's a line, and there was no line. And I was like, fuck, I should go vote. Like the kids were like exhausted, and they were like, that's funny. Neil Cook Cruise 2023. Oops. I like bringing back the line, fixing the mistake. That's pretty good. Yeah, but I was like, I should go now. There'll be no line or whatever. But I didn't want it to ruin my Halloween. I was like, I don't know if I want to go in. The kids wouldn't have went for it, so I opted out. I skipped it. But I think I'm going to go this weekend because I don't know if I could handle going on Election Day. Was it the governor of Georgia or the attorney general? I forget who it was, but down in Georgia, they are setting a record for early voting. They have over 3 million people that have voted so far in Georgia. How nuts is that? So big numbers in 16 with early voting in Georgia. Obviously, with the pandemic, it spun that. I think 2.1 was the record for early voting in Georgia during the pandemic, and now they've hit 3 million. I think we're going to see record numbers during this election overall. Just the early voting, the mail-in stuff, I think they're going to be big numbers, and I think it's going to be a huge turnout. If you ask both campaigns, they both think that's good for them. What'll actually be good or not, we don't know. We shall see. We shall see on Tuesday. Tune in. Come hang out with us. Electile dysfunction, my friends. That's what's going down Tuesday, 9 o'clock, right here on the all AOA podcast. The normal channels. We're going to be on all the normal channels. We'll be there. We'll be here. And we'll be looking forward to hanging out with everybody, having a good time. Just rapping back and forth, talking some shit, making it all happen. You can go on our YouTube channel, you can go on our Facebook page, and you can click the get notified for when we go live. A lot of those things are already out there. The links for that stuff is already out there. If you go to our Facebook page and you go to our YouTube channel, if you go to our YouTube channel, just go to the live section. You got to go there to make that work. But we'll see you on Tuesday. I mean, we'll see you Monday at our regular time. Before then, we'll do a regular Monday episode. We'll do the Tuesday electile dysfunction special presentation, and then we're back again on Wednesday to recap all the craziness from the election. You guys have a wonderful weekend.
Show me potato salad.
We'll see you next week. Big week.
Maybe we should go now.
Go ahead.